My name is McGrail. I'm the Managing Director of Xmateria. I'm delighted to be joined today by Thorsten Spihlmann from SAP, where he spent the last 15 years. Thorsten was a solution architect in the legendary system landscape transformation practice within SAP, which used to be called SLO and is now referred to as DMLT, where he then went on to hold go-to-market responsibility. He then moved across to become head of product management and business development for the Business Transformation Center within the Transformation Cloud and Lifecycle Management team. Welcome, Thorsten.
Thanks a lot, Ben, and thanks for having me here and for this great opportunity. Always nice talking to you.
No, thank you. There are tens of thousands of SAP ECC customers around the world, some of whom have moved to S4HANA, some of whom have not moved to S4HANA. Some of those will be looking at a full-scale transformation and re-implementation. Others, something much more technical, a tactical kind of upgrade to S4HANA. But many are looking for something in the middle, where they need where they're looking to avoid the kind of the full cost and perhaps uncertainty of a re-implementation, but need a bit more than an upgrade. And I believe that's kind of where the SAP Business Transformation Center, BTC, comes in, and the reason that SAP have built this product. I wonder if you could give a bit more background on that and just explain to people listening, what is SAP BTC?
Yeah, sure. So the SAP Business Transformation Center at the end is the central entry point for SAP's transformation solutions, which helps at the end to move to the cloud. So the goal is really to simplify and accelerate the transition of our customers move to S4. And so we want to provide here really with the SAP Business Transformation Center really a platform which is fast, secure, but also simple and cost effective. As you mentioned, a lot of customers still need to move to S4, yeah. And for sure, always the topic of TCI, TCO is always a topic in the discussion with the customers. And we provide here really a structured, standardized approach for data transformation and data migration, which includes at the end all activities like analysis, planning, execution, and translating also this end-to-end process and also validation at the end. Yeah. So it's built on Cloud ALM, on top of Cloud ALM, so it's a cloud native solution. And so as you mentioned, this selective data transition approach was released mid of last year, the first release. And it's the first time that SAP, let's say, standardize this approach in a product. As you mentioned, I was before DMLT, so we had always this service offering. And now we have here this product where we, with the SAP Business Transformation Center, where we offer now this end-to-end transition scenario, lean selective data transition. I think it's a fully guided solution, automated as much as possible, and it really speeds up the transition to the cloud. So, but as you also mentioned, yeah, there's also always something in the middle, yeah, and it's really a solution with lean selective data transition where we actually are very close to the conversion, so the brownfield approach, with the capability of reducing data footprint. I think that's the, let's say, in short, so we actually focus really in selecting the right data for the future business of our customers. This means based on company code selection and time slice. And maybe just something to add here, it's really important also because often SAP Business Transformation Center is equal lean selective data transition. That's not the case. We plan much more, as mentioned before. It should be the future platform for all kind of data transformation with SAP standard products. And this means the lean selective data transition is the first end-to-end scenario we offer here with the Business Transformation Center, but there will be much more in there. So we have identified and defined a unified methodology, let's say, for the transition, which covers all 3 transition paths here. This means you always start with the recommendation. I will give you maybe later here a short intro about this. Yeah. So what's the recommendation? What's the best path? We will then go to the scoping, the so-called blueprinting. Then we also offer tools for the transition to the cloud. It's called RISE with SAP System Transition Workbench. And we have these 3 different paths with the conversion, with the software update manager, with the lean selective data transition, and with the new implementation migration cockpit. And at the end, we also have the solution in our department where we then validate the business data with the data transition validation tool. So it's a full, let's say, from recommendation until business data validation, a unified methodology for our customers.
Okay, so Business Transformation Center is becoming a bit more of a platform that will cover various scenarios. What I kind of talk to customers about is there are some customers that that they know that they've maybe got some budget put aside. They've implemented SAP ECC relatively recently. They're pretty happy with what they've got, and they really just want to upgrade. So they kind of know their path. And then you've got the customers at the other end where the migration to S/4HANA is perhaps coming off the back of a much wider business transformation. They're going to be re-implementing S/4HANA. Okay, it's a big exercise. It might be a long exercise. It might be expensive. There are obvious challenges there, but they know their route. And I think maybe historically it was that center, that middle, that scale of change somewhere between brownfield and greenfield that maybe confused customers a little bit. And so we will talk to customers about you've got the lean SDT, which kind of sits just above brownfields. Then you've got the kind of the full selective data transition where you would use a third-party software. We work with Natubion's SDT, and then maybe even a bit more change if you're doing some significant finance change where you might kind of post finance through the balances plus table based with the rest. So there's a whole lot there, and I think let's talk about that lean SDT option, because I think that's the one that maybe customers understand least. What exactly where does that sit, and what exactly does that offer over and above kind of a classic brownfield route?
I think the main topic here is also that we can really, as mentioned before, select the data based on the relevant company codes in your system and or time slice. So you can actually reduce the data when you move to S/4, but you keep the process as is. Yeah. I think that's important. A lot of customers have a long-running system already. Yeah, it's big, the system, and they definitely don't need to move all the data to the cloud if they want to continue their business now, for example, in private cloud. Yeah. So, but they still want to keep for different reasons. That could be legal reasons, security. Maybe customers feel better to keep some historical data. Sometimes, if you have this maintenance stuff, you need to keep this also. So there are different reasons why customers want to keep some data in. Yeah. And so for these customers, we offer now really attractive way. Yeah. For sure, as you mentioned, there are additional services like where I'm coming from, DMLT, with the very customer specific content, yeah, for transformation. This is something we will not touch and we cannot touch. Yeah, we have a standardized product. It's available on Cloud LM. So it's public available at the end for everyone, and we have to secure also this approach. But it's a really guided, secure approach, which is very attractive. And now it comes also, if you have these SME customers, for example, in the past, it's even hard for them that they can make use of this service because it's customer specific. It was too expensive. Yeah. In this mid segment, yeah, it's a different world from the cost perspective also. Yeah. And it's much harder to position these kind of services. Yeah. And therefore they have now also the chance to get use of this selective approach. It's it's a selective data transition because we select data, yeah. So, but we don't have these transformation capabilities, but maybe I can give later an outlet also on the future roadmap. There will be a little bit more also. But yeah, we are actually closer to conversion, and we offer here really the opportunity to reduce the system size. And if you talk now with maybe conversion customers, and I had this morning, just a good example, I had a call with a customer. They want to do a conversion, and they recognized, okay, in the past years, so many years ago, I have millions of inconsistencies in the system. So the conversion will not run. And now the idea or the solution would be, okay, I can take over the last 5-6 years. So I can really also save time also here, optimize TCI, and I don't have to spend time for fixing inconsistencies of data, which is 10-15 years old.
So the advantages to customers here then who are potentially considering brownfield, who are looking at an upgrade to a simple upgrade to S4HANA would be, I guess, that it retains the simplicity of that method. It's a guided approach. You know, it's also provided by SAP, so it comes with a certainty and certainty. But in the first version, where you were able to, you're also able, there's a kind of a data quality angle there and a data footprint simplification where you can reduce significantly the size of your system and strip out data that's no longer relevant or no longer active. So in the first version of the BTC, you were able to leave behind redundant company codes, and that was good, but it just meant that the number of customers that would want to take advantage of that, and only that, would be quite small. But now you're able to leave behind older fiscal periods, older historical. That then gives customers a real advantage that they can reduce the size of their system significantly while still taking advantage of a very quick and guided approach to moving to S4HANA. Would that be fair? What's the feedback been from customers?
Yeah, I think you are right, and I think for sure we all know the company code alone would not be sufficient at the end. Yeah, we had projects immediately, successful projects in very short time. Yeah, with only selecting company codes. But it's a logical sequence of the development at the end. Also, if you look at the roadmap, I think one roadmap item builds on the other one, and it's a logical sequence. We started with the company code, and we know, okay, the next step would be the time slice. Now we know, okay, also the next step is, it's always built on top, and we always think, okay, what's already value? We can go out, we provide value to the customers. We receive already in an early stage feedback, so we can also here grow and improve. And meanwhile, we also develop the new capabilities here to constantly release new features. That's a nice part of this public cloud solution on Cloud ALM, that we can really release bi-weekly new features here. So that was, let's say, the intention, that we go out very fast, even if we know it will not be sufficient for everyone with the company code, but to gain experience, get feedback, and provide already some value to customers. So the feedback now, let's say, especially for customers who move to the cloud, there's, I think, one of the values here really when reducing the data is really that you can for sure shrink the system. And at the end, so it's you always have a positive impact on the TCO also. Before I talked about the TCI, because there's no license needed. It's part of your RISE contract or of your enterprise support. Yeah, it's faster. Yeah, you can also save money and don't have to fix inconsistencies or TCI. But with the memory extension stuff, you also have an impact on the TCO. So you can really impact TCI and TCO of our customers. I think that's the big value here. Yeah? This reduced footprint. And the feedback is really good. We have a lot of brilliant feedback also from partners, yeah, who drive this services, yeah. And I think one very nice feedback for me was, and this is something we aim for also, that the feedback was, okay, there was one person in my organization who drives this transition to S4 for the customer. So it was a partner, and there was one guy at the end who's doing all these steps in BTC to move the customer to S4. And at the end, this guy was not even the super expert in migration. And I think this is something we aim for, that we really, free up these super experts for other tasks, not for executing at the end the migration, push the button. That we streamline this process, and there we all know before and after the conversion or the migration, there are many other topics here you have to deal with here, and to free up these experts also for other topics here, because in the past for this stuff there was only, let's say, expertise community, and there are always naturally bottlenecks in it. And this is something we aim for, definitely, yeah. And so we recognize now, especially the time slice, a big interest. So this is something, it changed a lot. So it's, sometimes I think we also discussed about this game changer, whatever. So I don't want to talk about game changer. Game changer at the end, I think a customer or a partner, whoever, needs to decide if it's a game changer for him. Yeah, I don't want to name this, but I personally recognized the time slice was for us a little bit a game changer with let's make it more attractive at the end.
So it is a game changer.
But
maybe. No, I think you've yeah, I mean, like you said at the beginning, it's about accelerating the route to S4 and simplifying the route to S4 so that you don't need multiple in-demand, high expert consultants to run this. It's a much simpler process, and also, while it's a new product, it's based on the DMLT's migration workbench software that sits underneath it. So it's built on a very established technology that's been around for 20, 25, maybe more years. So the way it works like an SDT project, in the sense that you take an empty shell of the ECC system that gets upgraded to S4 with the system conversion, and then you selectively migrate across the data, leaving behind redundant company codes, older fiscal years. So it would seem to be an option that any customer that's looking at a brownfield route should be considering. And I think customers do kind of fall into two categories. You don't get many customers that say they can't decide whether they're going for a technical upgrade or a full implementation. They kind of know at which end of the scale they are. What they're looking at is that, do they want something a bit more selective instead of a greenfield, or do they want something a bit more powerful versus a brownfield? And I think that lean SDT option sits at that end. What are the prerequisites? Could any customer that's on ECC look at this, or are there certain technical prerequisites in order to take advantage of this approach?
Yeah, I think, as you mentioned, with the scope, actually, we definitely focus on conversion customers, but the conversion is also in the cloud lifecycle management department. So I don't want to now say, okay, lean SDT is better than conversion here. So there's always different use cases, as mentioned. Sometimes the people want to reduce the system size, and but also if you have a large system, a very large system, you have to use downtime optimized approaches, maybe even near zero downtime approaches. Then definitely it's better to go for the conversion here, because there we have at least actually the solutions in place. The prerequisites you asked for now. So we started with, let's say, from a system release, we started with EHP 8 ECC release. So we will now release in the next 2-3 weeks, probably we will release EHP 7. So the final testing is done. Unfortunately, we cannot go below EHP7. Why? Because this is the technical stuff behind. We are using OData, you know, Cloud Connector, and yeah, technically this is not supported before EHP7. That's why we will not go below EHP7. But we have recognized a lot of customers are already on 7 and 8, and especially in 7 we get a lot of requests now, and that's why we are happy now also to be able to release it soon. The other prerequisite, as you mentioned, we are working on with a shell copy. This means empty system, just the configuration and repositories of the ECC system, convert this in a S4 system, and this serves as our target environment. And at the end, for sure, one important topic is you have to use Cloud ALM. So if you have the, let's say, if you are able to use Cloud ALM, it comes for free. And Cloud ALM at the end is for customers who have an enterprise contract, a cloud subscription, RISE contract, whatever. They can use Cloud ALM for free, and then they also can use the SAP Business Transformation Center for free. Means if there are partners like you delivering this kind of projects, always the customer must have the Cloud ALM tenant. So
Cloud ALM, SAP ECC, EHP8, soon EHP7. I think customers who are on older versions of that, I think, wouldn't necessarily expect to be able to upgrade straight to S4 using the kind of the latest technology. I think that they're often the customers that recognize that their system is out of date and they could really benefit from maybe re-implementing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. Thank you. Now you
but
mentioned...
I also think that maybe just to add here, maybe sorry, it's not only, you know, I always recommend also to use this digital blueprint we offer here in the lean selective data transition scenario, independent at the end. If you maybe already, if you just don't know actually which transition you want to follow, if it's a conversion, new implementation, whatever, because it's a very fast way to get insights into your system. And this is something I always advise customers in the early stage of a project. Give it a try, have a look at it. And the nice thing of this blueprint is really, I always say it speaks business. It's not very technical. I think business already understand here company codes and all. You see also open items, all the stuff. You see the yearly distribution of the stuff. So it's very, let's say, business-like, and you can really discuss in a very early stage with the business about the possible approach, or to explain also what's in the system, what's needed. So this is something I just want to add on top. It's not, you don't have to define already, I want to go for lean SCT. In very early stage, you can really get pretty fast after a couple of minutes running the readiness check for usage and data profiling uploaded. You can really get pretty fast, well, let's say, illustrated, well prepared overview of your system. The data. It's always important. We are focusing on data. Signavio, for example, focus on processes. We are focusing here on data because sometimes customers are also confused a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, we would certainly support that message on the importance of data discovery. And, you know, there's what's nice with the digital blueprint component of BTC is it sits kind of on, it works off the back of the readiness check scan in the same way that the BTC migration engine works off the back of existing technology, existing DMLT technology. So it's all sitting on top of things that are kind of already there. And what you've put on top is a layer that allows people to really simplify this approach. But yeah, we talk to customers a lot about data discovery, and of course, as you know, we've got our own Pioneer software that works in that space as well. And we try to do the slightly different, but we work in the same way. This has to work in business language. If it's a purely technical exercise that's only looking at tables, it's hard for customers to understand what they're really looking at. It really needs to exist in kind of business language. I think we would definitely support that. Now, you mentioned the shell, the shell creation, which is coming. What's the You also mentioned that this is no longer going to be about just lean SDT, that the Business Transformation Center is going to offer a wider range of scenarios. So what's the roadmap? Where is this? Where's this going?
Yeah. So as mentioned so far, we discussed, we have this time slice company code. We now also introduced the project app for transformation, which is, let's say, on top of Cloud ALM, the project and task management, where you can also give more guidance about the steps, this activate steps, yeah. That is also now integrated in SAP Business Transformation Center Lean SDT. And I think the next release will be the so-called Identified Transformation Scenario app. This is something new based on the data we have from the readiness check. There are also other tools like maintenance readiness check and other sources you have at SAP. Yeah, we can now help to find the right transition approach. Yeah, it's important. It's not a binding recommendation. It's just a supportive, data-driven solution where you have some indicators at the end, probably based on the data in your system. Bundle with some questions, because you can never work only based on the data to find a future solution, because you also have some business requirements and all this stuff. So we have to bundle this. So we define some key questions, we analyze the source system data, and then we can give at least a little indicator. Probably that's the best way for you. You should do a conversion, selective data transition, or a new implementation. This is something we will release soon. Was also already a little
guide
bit
the customer through that decision-making process.
Yes, but it's important
to at least help them clarify their own.
It's just a little bit giving indicator. Yeah, it's, as mentioned, it's not a mandatory or a recommendation that you have to fulfill this and go for. Yeah, to have the SAP support. It's just another piece of guidance we want to give their customers. Sometimes they are just a little bit lost. Yeah, and sometimes for sure also it depends also on the partner you're talking to. Yeah, that's also the truth. I think some partners have this capabilities, the other has this. Probably it's also an impact on the decision at the end. Yeah, so we just want to give here a generic indicator. This could be probably the best way for you. Yeah. This is something which comes as very soon. Yeah, and then we also release soon a tool for the shell copy. Because this is something we recognized also when I talk to customers or even partners who are not so experienced in this SDT space. How does it work? What do I have to do to create a shell? What are the steps? And we said, okay, we have all the guys here, from the software update manager. We have all the experts here who did all these tools in the past, and had the experience. We said, okay, let's provide here also a tool, because the shell copy tool is also often requested for new implementations at a baseline, not to start really totally from scratch. So this is also a value, and we already, since talking to partners and customers, we recognize, okay, there's a big interest now in this area. So this will be released in autumn. And what else? What can I say? So far, we focused on the data reduction piece, as described before. Now, we also developing actually on transformation patterns like chart of account harmonization and this so-called account to ledger, so switching from classic GL to new GL. So this is something we have on the roadmap, on the public roadmap. But for let's say beyond this topic, there are more topics to come. For sure, as everybody, we work actually on also to bring in more AI capabilities in these transformation solutions. We want to we want to really bring together the methodology I described before with the different solutions and different steps you have to follow. We want to bring this together more, so more integration, for example, of the blueprint together with the migration cockpit. This is for us something which seems to be logical. Yeah, if I have the data in the source system, I have the staging, the direct transfer functionality in the migration cockpit. Why not mapping the objects of a digital blueprint to the objects of a migration cockpit for an implementation, for example? So this is something Also, the new migration cockpit is part of our department, so we just bring together, just working on this.
So something to keep an eye on over the next year or so.
Next year, yeah. This year, this will not be happening anymore, but next year, yeah, definitely. And also for sure, you know, I think you were also at the Sapphire, so everybody is talking about the business suite. And there's for sure also, there's more. There's not only S4, so there's something also behind S4, yeah. But there are other solutions around, yeah. And also here we keep an eye on it, how can we support this? Because we always think we have to provide here the baseline from SAP, yeah. There are always experts around, build on top of it or complement, but we always think we should provide a baseline here.
Yeah.
So also here we are investing.
You mentioned the partner, partner support that customers need, but I think it has been maybe a gap, and what a lot of customers want is that they do want that kind of independent view or that trusted view from SAP as well. So I think products like the Business Transformation Center, the digital blueprint part of that, particularly as it then goes into kind of methodology and support for decision making, I think does start to fill a gap there for customers who are a little uncertain.
Definitely, yeah.
Particularly smaller customers who maybe don't have access to or don't have the budget for significant partner support. I think this has been a gap, and it's a very positive development.
Definitely, this is something, as you mentioned, we were always asked, SAP should know it the best. You are the software vendor, yeah. Why don't you provide here more guidance? And I think we will actually do this really step by step. Yeah, there are a lot of initiatives actually running. There will be much more, yeah. Also regards to guidance, yeah. Supported by AI. So there are a lot of investments to speed up and to make it easier also the transition for our customers, yeah. And for sure, and that's not, it's important. Therefore, we need also the partners. Yeah, it's not against. So I think partners are our, let's say, delivery, the heart for the delivery. Yeah, we need the partners, and especially, for example, lean SDT scenario. I think we also don't see actually an overlap with the expertise SDT partners. As mentioned before, there's the complex space, and there's the straightforward space. We want to go on the straightforward case, yeah. And there's always a big space around, especially for the bigger customers, where this straightforward approach doesn't work, yeah. So we don't see here really an overlap, yeah. It's complementing at the end.
Yeah, that's right, and I think we would agree, and I think the companies that provide the SDT technologies would agree as well. There's space there for more complex, more involved migration routes, but some customers need something that's a bit more packaged up, an end-to-end scenario that can just be implemented, perhaps with the help of a partner like us. Perhaps some of them will take it on themselves, but just to have a route there that is a quick, simple, and obviously much cheaper route to get to S4 if they're able to take advantage of that. But But no, thank you very much. I think this whole area of selective data transition, lean SDT, what is offered through BTC is still not fully understood in the UK. I think a lot of customers still aren't aware of it, and particularly those smaller customers that were maybe looking at a brownfield route. There's a real option there for them to add more to that for very little additional time and cost. So, having calls like this and bringing that message to the UK market and other parts of the world is really important. So thank you very much for taking the time today.
Thanks a lot, Ben. And I think we need these partners like you, yeah, to bring this message also to the market. And I think it's also important. I think it's at the end you said it's easier, maybe even a customer can do it on their own, but at the end we need the partners to deliver this. So we focus mainly on partners because for many customers, it's a one-time effort and probably not worth to invest here into education. So thanks a lot for having me. It was really nice talking to you, and yeah, I hope now we can have now, let's say, a good exchange now also with the UK market.
Yeah, Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.